Hey everyone. Looks like you folks have been sending in a ton of stuff on the Kumbh Mela,
Yeah.
especially this article here from the Indian Express.
Well, yeah.
It's called Kumbh Mela Explained. It's mythology, history, astrology, and why millions flock to it.
That's a good one.
So, ready for a deep dive, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. This is going to be great.
I mean, this thing is massive.
Oh, it's huge. It's recognized by UNESCO, too,
UNESCO, huh?
Yeah, it's on their intangible cultural heritage list.
Well, let's get right to it.
Awesome.
So the article starts off talking about the mythology of the whole thing.
Right.
And it's a pretty wild story, gotta say.
It is.
Gods, demons, a quest for immortality.
It's like straight out of a movie,
I know, right?
Yeah, it all starts with this epic battle
Okay.
between the devas, the gods, and the asuras.
It's Cirrus, right?
The demons, yeah.
Okay.
And they're churning this cosmic ocean.
Whoa.
And from this ocean, out pops the Amrita Kumbh.
Damiktakun.
Yeah, it's this pitcher filled with the nectar of immortality.
Okay, so like, drink this and you live forever?
Exactly. But there's always a but.
Yeah, of course there's a but.
Of course.
It's not that easy. Right.
No.
So then Indra's son, Jayant, he grabs the Kumbh
Okay.
and flies off with it.
He flies off.
Please.
Yeah, across India.
Across India with this picture of immortality.
He's being chased, too, by all these demons.
They want that nectar.
Oh, yeah. They want to live forever, too.
Of course.
So as he's flying drops of this Amrita, they spill out
Oh, no.
in 4 different locations.
Please.
And those 4 places, they become the sacred Kumbh Mela sites.
Okay. And those
So
are...
you've got Haridwar, Prayagraj, Ujjain.
I've heard of Prayagraj.
Oh, yeah. It's a pretty famous one.
Right.
And then there's Nashik Trimbakeshwar.
Okay. And is there something special about these places besides the nectar?
Yeah, good point.
Like, why there?
Well, they're all on the banks of holy rivers. So that adds another layer to the whole thing.
So we've got a flying god, spilled nectar, sacred rivers.
Right. A lot going on.
But how do we get from that to this massive gathering?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens every 12 years, right?
Right. Every 12 years.
Why 12 years?
Well, remember, Jayant flew for 12 days.
Oh, right.
And a day for the divas,
For the gods.
yeah, is equal to a year for us humans.
So 12 divine days, 12 human years.
There you go. That's the 12-year cycle for the Kumbh Mela.
Ah, that makes sense.
It's amazing how they connected all that.
But wait, it's not just the same day every 12 years, right?
No, you're right.
It moves around.
It does, yeah.
So how do they actually decide when it happens?
It's all about the stars.
Astrology.
Exactly.
Be serious.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay, tell me more.
So they look at the positions of Jupiter, the sun, and the moon.
Okay, like a cosmic alignment.
Yeah, you got
And that determines the exact timing.
exactly. Pretty cool, right?
It's like ancient astronomy meets spirituality.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how connected they were to the cosmos.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just about religion.
Yeah.
It was about the stars, the universe.
It all ties together.
It really does.
And speaking of different kinds of gatherings, the article mentions different types of Kumbh Melas.
Oh, yeah. It's not just one thing.
There's like levels to this.
Kinda, yeah.
So you got your regular Kumbh Mela,
Right, the 12-year one.
and there's the Ard Kumbh.
Yeah, the Art Kumbh, that's every 6 years.
Every 6 years.
It's a bit smaller.
Okay.
Still massive, but not like
Not like the big one.
exactly the Mahakumbh.
Mahakumbh.
That's the big shit.
That's the one everyone's talking about.
The most auspicious, the biggest crowds, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so mythology, astrology, different types of gatherings.
A lot to take in.
But the article also mentions some debate about the history of the Kumbh Mela.
Oh, yeah, that's where things get interesting.
Like, how old is this thing, really?
Right.
Does it really go back as far as the myths suggest?
Well, some people think so.
Okay.
They point to ancient texts, like the Skanda Purana.
The Skanda Purana.
It talks about
Yeah.
these gatherings.
Yeah.
But others say, hold on.
Like, not so fast.
Yeah, they say the evidence isn't that clear.
Like, it's not a direct link.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Well, there are a few ideas floating around.
Okay, hit me.
One theory is that this guy, Adi Shankaracharya,
Who's that?
he was this philosopher back in the 8th century.
8th century.
Yeah, he supposedly wanted to bring together all these Hindu ascetics and scholars.
Ascetics and scholars.
You know, the thinkers, the holy men.
Okay, like a big brain trust.
Exactly. A place to share ideas, debate,
That-
get inspired.
Kind of like ancient mega conferences.
Huh. In a way, yeah, something like that.
That's pretty cool.
It is, right?
But that's just one theory.
Yeah. There are others.
What else is there?
So this historian, Kama McLean,
Kama McLean.
she's got this idea that the Kumbh Mela, as we know it today,
Okay.
is actually a rebranding.
Rebranding, huh?
Yeah, like they took something old
Okay.
and gave it a new name, new significance.
What was it before?
Well, she thinks it was this other bathing festival.
Another bathing
No.
festival called the Mahakumbh Mela.
Okay, the Mahakumbh Mela, and they turned it into the Kumbh Mela.
That's her theory, yeah.
But why?
Well, she thinks it happened after the 1857 rebellion.
The rebellion against the British.
Exactly.
Okay.
She argues that by emphasizing the ancient roots of the Kumbh Mela,
Making it seem really old and traditional.
it made it harder for the British to mess with it.
Oh, clever.
Right. It's like, this has been going on forever. You can't stop it.
Smart move.
But of course,
There's always a but.
yeah, not everyone agrees with her.
Of course not.
There's this other professor, D.P. Doobie.
Okay, Doobie.
Yeah, he studied the Kumbh Mela a lot.
Like a Kumbh Mela expert.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And he thinks it probably came about later.
Later than the 8th century.
Yeah, more like after the 12th century.
Okay, and how did it become so big?
He says these sadhus.
Yeah, they're wandering ascetics, kind of like holy men.
Okay.
He thinks they played a big part in popularizing it.
Really?
Yeah, spreading the word, attracting followers.
So for Doobie, it was a gradual evolution.
Right, not a sudden rebranding.
And it wasn't just about religion.
No. He says there was a power dynamic, too.
Like, who has the most followers?
Exactly. Influence, prestige, all that.
It's fascinating how different scholars interpret the same history.
It really is, right.
So where does that leave us?
I mean, the exact origins might still be debated,
Okay.
but what's clear is that the Kumbh Mela,
Yeah.
whether it started in the 8th century, the 12th, or even earlier,
Right.
it's been bringing people together for a long time.
It has stood the test of time,
It has. It's adapted, evolved.
but always stayed true to its core, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a testament to its cultural power.
Definitely.
Okay, so millions of people, driven by myth, astrology, and history,
Right.
they gather at these sacred sites.
Every 12 years.
But what do they actually do there?
Good question.
It's more than just a giant campout, right?
Oh, yeah, much more.
So what's the deal?
Well, at its core, it's a pilgrimage,
A pilgrimage. Okay.
a journey of faith.
Okay.
People are seeking purification.
Spiritual purification.
Exactly. And merit, good karma.
And how do they achieve that?
Well, the article highlights ritual bathing.
Bathing.
Yeah, in the sacred rivers.
Like a holy dip?
Exactly. They believe it washes away sins
Okay.
and brings blessings.
It's like a spiritual cleansing.
Yeah, something like that.
And it has to be during the Kumbh Mela.
That's the belief.
Why?
It's all about the confluence of the rivers,
Okay.
the planetary alignment,
Right.
the collective energy of millions of devotees.
It creates a powerful atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. Very potent spiritual energy.
And some people, they don't just take a quick dip.
No, you're right.
The article mentions the Kalpwasi.
Kalpwasi, yeah.
Who are they?
They're the hardcore devotees.
Hardcore.
Yeah, they dedicate themselves to serious religious practice.
Like during the whole Kumbh Mela.
Yeah, for weeks, sometimes even longer.
Wow.
They live on the riverbanks.
Really?
Yeah, totally immersed in prayer, meditation, rituals.
That's a serious commitment.
It is. It shows their devotion.
That's pretty amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, so ritual bathing, dedicated ascetics,
Right.
but there's more, right?
Always more.
The article also talks about donations and charity.
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of it, too.
Giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Generosity is a core principle in Hinduism,
right.
and the Kumbh Mela becomes a focal point for all that.
People are feeling generous.
It's a time for giving, sharing your good fortune.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It shows the compassionate side of the event.
Okay, so we've got the bathing, the ascetics, the charity.
Right. There's a lot going on.
But there's also this whole other side to the Kumbh Mela.
There is
The article mentions the sadhus
the sadhus,
and their akadas.
right? The akadas.
They seem pretty central to the spectacle.
They are. They add a whole other dimension.
So who are the sadhus?
They're like these wandering holy men, ascetics, renunciates,
Right.
They often have these really intense practices.
Like what kind of practices?
Meditation, yoga, sometimes extreme physical disciplines.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're a sight to see.
And the akadas.
So the akadas are like organized groups of these sadhus.
Like different sects or something?
Kind of, yeah. Each akada has its own traditions,
Okay.
and they're kind of rivals.
Rivals.
Yeah, they compete for followers, influence,
Oh, interesting.
It's like a whole other layer of the Kumbh Mela.
And they have these processions, right?
Oh, yeah, big time.
What are they like?
It's a spectacle, let me tell you.
Okay.
They arrive in these elaborate processions,
Okay.
showcasing all their, spiritual
Yeah,
powers.
what kind of powers?
Well, some of it's physical, feats of strength. Some
Yeah.
of it's more esoteric, chanting, rituals.
It sounds intense.
It is. It's meant to be impressive.
And everyone wants to be at the front of the procession.
You bet. That's where the prestige is.
So there's rivalry there, too.
Oh, yeah. Historically, there's been a lot of conflict.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Fights, power struggles.
Over who gets to be at the front.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty intense.
I can imagine.
But these days, they usually predetermine the order.
To avoid any bloodshed?
Exactly. Got to keep things peaceful.
Right, safety first.
Always.
It's incredible to think about the scale of these processions.
And it is, right.
And the history behind them.
Centuries of tradition.
But the Kumbh Mela isn't just about spiritual pursuits, right?
No, not at all.
The article also mentions a marketplace.
Oh, yeah, that's a big part of it, too.
Like a Kumbh Mela bazaar.
You got it.
What's it like?
It's a vibrant, bustling place.
Okay.
Full of all sorts of goods, food, crafts.
Like a cultural exchange, too.
Oh, absolutely. People from all over come to trade.
That's pretty cool.
It shows the diversity of the event.
It's like a melting pot.
Yeah, melting pot of cultures, traditions, ideas.
So we've got religious rituals, ascetic practices, lively processions, bustling commerce.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
It's no wonder the Kumbh Mela draws such huge crowds.
Absolutely. It's an experience like no other.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. There's so much more to explore.
Okay, so what's next?
Well, we've talked about the origins, the traditions, but what about the impact?
The impact, huh?
Yeah, this event, it's not just about religion.
Okay.
It's shaped Indian society in profound ways.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's played a role in social movements, politics, even the spread of information.
Wow. Okay, now you've got my attention.
You ready to dive deeper?
Let's do it. Okay, so we've been talking about all these fascinating aspects of the Kumbh Mela.
The myths, the rituals, the history.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, right?
But now I'm really curious about the bigger picture.
The bigger picture, yeah.
Like, what kind of impact has this event had on Indian society as a whole?
That's a great question. And that's what makes the Kumbh Mela so unique.
Okay.
It's not just a religious gathering.
Right.
It's been this force for social change, a platform for sharing information, even a stage for political activism.
Whoa, really?
It's true.
I mean, how does a festival focused on spirituality become all that?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Before mass media, before the internet,
Right, way back when.
the Kumbh Mela was like this massive gathering of people from all over India.
Okay.
It was a chance for them to connect, share ideas, news, stories.
Like a pre-digital network.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is, right.
So information could spread organically.
Yeah, things that might have been suppressed otherwise.
Like during times of political unrest.
Especially then,
Okay.
the Kumbh Mela became this safe space for certain ideas.
The article specifically mentions the Kumbh Mela's role in India's fight for independence.
Oh, yeah, that's a key example.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So during the freedom movement, nationalist leaders,
Right.
they would use the Kumbh Mela to connect with the masses,
Okay.
spread their message, rally support against British rule.
It's like they were using the existing gathering to their advantage.
Exactly.
Smart move.
It was, and it was effective.
I can imagine all these people already gathered for religious reasons.
Right.
And then they're exposed to these calls for independence, self-rule.
It must have been powerful.
It really highlights how the Kumbh Mela has always been connected to the times.
Yeah, it's not stuck in the past.
It adapts, it evolves.
It reflects the social and political landscape of India.
Oh, what about today?
What about today?
What role does the Kumbh Mela play in modern India?
That's a great question, and it's something that the article kind of leaves open.
Open for interpretation.
Exactly. There's a lot to explore there.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Maybe we should recap some of the key takeaways.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we started with the myths, the stories about the gods, and the nectar of immortality.
Right. The Amrita Kumbh.
Then we talked about the astrology, how the planets determine when the Kumbh Mela takes place.
And the different types of Kumbh Melas.
The Kumbh, the Ardkumbh, the Mahakumbh.
Exactly. Different levels of significance.
We also explored the historical debate around the origins of the Kumbh Mela.
Multiple theories. Conflicting evidence.
It's a mystery in itself.
It really is.
Then we dove into the rituals and activities that make the Kumbh Mela so unique.
The bathing, the ascetics, the processions, the
A
marketplace.
sensory overload, in a good way.
Absolutely.
And finally, we've started to touch on the broader impact of the Kumbh Mela.
Its role in shaping history, social movements, and its continued relevance in the 21st century.
It's been quite a journey.
It has, from gods and demons to logistics and environmental concerns.
But before we move on, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
The article mentioned how the Kumbh Mela was used to spread nationalist ideas during India's fight for independence.
Right, a platform for mobilization.
It makes me wonder, could it be a platform for other kinds of social change in the future?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Like, could this ancient gathering, with its power to bring people together,
Be a catalyst for progress.
exactly, a space to address contemporary issues?
To amplify voices that need to be heard.
It's definitely something to ponder.
It is. The Kumbh Mela, it's like a flowing river,
Yeah.
constantly evolving, carrying the currents of history, faith.
And maybe the potential for social transformation.
Maybe so. What else caught your eye in the article?
Okay, so we've been talking about the Kumbh Mela's impact on society and stuff.
Yeah, its historical role, its potential for future change.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
But, reading through this article,
Yeah.
one thing that really struck me,
What's that?
it's the sheer scale of this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Millions of people,
Millions.
all converging on one place.
It's mind-boggling.
I mean, the logistics alone
Right.
must be insane.
It's a massive undertaking.
Like, how do they even handle that many people?
Well, the article talks about how they basically create these temporary cities.
Temporary cities.
Yeah, to accommodate all the pilgrims.
Whoa.
They set up sanitation facilities, healthcare, security.
It's like a pop-up metropolis.
It is, and then they dismantle it all when the Mela is over.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
The planning that must go into that.
Oh, it's incredible.
And it's not just the physical stuff, right?
Not at all.
There's also the crowd management,
Huge crowds.
keeping everyone safe.
That's a constant concern.
Yeah, the potential for accidents.
Stampedes, things like that.
That's a scary thought.
It is. It's a huge responsibility.
It really shows the dedication of the people who organize this.
Oh, absolutely.
They're taking on a lot.
They are. They do a remarkable job.
The Kumbh Mela is a testament to human ingenuity, really.
It is. Blending ancient traditions with modern know-how.
And speaking of modern considerations,
Yeah.
did the article say anything about the environmental impact?
You mean with all those people on the riverbanks?
Exactly.
It did. There are definitely concerns.
It's like what?
Pollution, waste management, the strain on water resources.
It's a tough balance.
It is. Preserving tradition while protecting the environment.
It's a reminder that even spiritual events can have real-world consequences.
Absolutely. We have to consider the impact of our actions.
So what can be done?
That's the big question.
It's not like you can just shut down the Kumbh Mela.
No, of course not.
That's too important.
Culturally, spiritually.
So how do we make it sustainable?
That's the challenge, finding ways to minimize the environmental footprint.
Without losing the essence of the event.
Exactly.
It's a complex issue.
It is. No easy answers.
But it's a conversation we need to have.
Absolutely.
As we learn about and appreciate these traditions.
We also have to think about their impact on the planet.
Right, it's all connected.
It is.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
I think the Kumbh Mela leaves us with a lot to think about.
it does. It's a microcosm of so many things.
Ancient traditions, modern challenges.
The interplay of faith, culture, and the environment.
It's a reminder that we can't just look at the past.
We have to look to the future, too,
How do we preserve these cultural treasures?
for generations to come.
That's the key question.
It is.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of our Kumbh Mela deep dive.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've gone from gods and demons to logistics and environmental concerns.
It's amazing how much there is to learn about this one event.
It really is. I feel like I've only just scratched the surface.
But hopefully we've sparked your curiosity
Given you some things to think about.
and maybe inspired you to do your own deep dives.
So to our listener, keep exploring the Kumbh Mela.
Read those articles. Do your research.
And maybe someday, experience it for yourself.
It's an experience you won't forget.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, happy exploring.